host, Veronica Harris, here at the Veronica Harris Show. And by my side is...
Her co-host, Gregory Harris, also her little brother.
And today we have Mr. Ronald Williams Sr., martial arts instructor extraordinaire. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Genki desu ka?
He always gets me with that. In case anybody did not know, there was Japanese that we were speaking. But Mr. Williams has 46 years training in martial arts. He's a 7th degree black belt in Shorin-ryu and a 5th degree black belt in Taekwondo, although you have stopped training in that.
That's correct.
And you're a 7th degree black belt in Okinawa Kobudo. Yes. And what I found is very interesting, you were, until 2002 when you retired, the chief instructor and founder of the Metropolitan Police Boys and Girls Martial Arts Association.
That's correct.
Is that association still going on?
No, it stopped when I retired. A lot of the youngsters went on to, they got grown, started doing other things. Some married, some have kids and leading productive lives.
Oh, well,
But
awesome.
every now and then we still have a reunion coming together.
Okay, have a reunion. All right. Now, we did say that you are a 7th degree black belt in Shorin-ryu. However, we have learned, or doing some research, we learned that there's more than just the black belt. There's more degrees. How many total degrees?
In the Okinawan system of karate, there are 10 degrees. And that title would be called Hanshi Judan. Ju meaning 10.
Now, you are also an instructor, correct?
That's correct.
And because of that, you have a red and white panel belt.
That's right.
Correct. And did I say that correctly? Panel belt, red and white?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And you are known as the Kyoshi Nanadan?
Kyoshi Nanadan.
Okay. All right, awesome. And in order to, and from research, I hear that in order to move up to the other degrees, it's not only the amount of time training, but you also have to have the years.
Years and age for
Years and
maturity
age.
level as well.
Now, usually when I hear years and age, I'm talking about retirement. Like, do you have the years? Do you have the age? And I'm like, at 65, it's time to retire. But usually it's not until 65 that you can get another degree of belt. What degree is that?
When you get up to the high rank of Hanshi Judan, we're talking about at least 65 years old.
And if you're 50, you're considered too young.
You're too young, young buck.
You're a young buck. Okay, because they believe in maturity.
Maturity, that's right.
All right, awesome. And you said instructors tend to teach until they die, literally?
That's right, between the age of 95 and 100.
Right. And research has also shown, because I am a health teacher, that the country or island that has the most life expectancy, the longest life expectancy, is in Okinawa.
You know, that's right.
And you said they have the most centurions
Yeah.
in the country, in the world, rather. Okay, well, awesome. So that's a little bit about you. Gregory, did you have anything you wanted to chime in before I get into the questions?
You rushed out before you run out. So ain't no need retiring at 65. You probably want to retire, don't you?
Yes.
No, I'm do like the showmans do. I'm going till I'm 95 or better. You rushed out before you run out. Remember that.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on. So not to be rushed out, but we're going to keep running because we got some things to cover. We first want to know, okay, how did you get started into martial arts? And did you always practice Shorin-ryu?
Like most young kids, we were affected by Bruce Lee. We made our homemade nunchucks by taking mama's broom, sewing it off, and putting a rope between two.
Okay.
Something just fascinating wanted to do. And sometimes we would work with each other, hurt each other, until we found someone that could teach us formally. From that point on, man, the interest just grew tremendously. When I first started, I never dreamed that I would be where I am right now in the martial arts. As the years went on, the desire and passion just grew and grew and grew.
When did you first go to Japan? Because you said 46 years training going back and forth between Japan and Okinawa.
Now, it's 46 years training altogether in martial arts.
Okay.
I started going to Okinawa, Japan in 1994.
Okay.
So I've been going every year since 1994.
All right.
Because prior to that, I was doing Taekwondo.
Okay.
I want to know. So as you got into it, and I know martial arts, y'all are known for your regiment, your training. What kind of feats of strength were you able to do that you're proud of?
Well, back then, I was pretty proud of breaking cinder blocks with my head, you know.
Oh, wow.
Back then, not some people were doing it. Then after that, I started getting into the combat aspect of it. And I came up with a theory. And coming out of the realm of the traditional training, I had a concept. I said, I can take someone and I can train them for 6 months straight and I'll have them be able to take on any black belt in the city.
You want to take up that challenge?
No, I don't want to hit no black belt. 6 months though.
Yeah, and I did that. A young man by the name of Marvin Lee. I started training Marvin Lee when he was 15 years old. He's 48 now, and we still train together.
Nice, awesome. So you find that in martial arts, you do develop those long-standing relationships?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So now, you're not just a martial art instructor extraordinaire. You were a police officer as well.
For 30 years.
For 30 years. And so you just recently retired, correct?
I retired May 2nd, 2002.
Oh, you know that date real well.
Yes, I do.
So what made you decide to become a police officer? And you were a police officer here in the
District. That's
Columbia.
right.
Yes.
Wow. I became a police officer because as a young teenager, having my hot rod Mustang at age 16, I was being harassed by the police in Maryland. I mean, racial tension was high during that time there. And I remember them pulling me over, you know, and some of the names I was called, impounding my car. And by the time I had reached 18, I had a thought to myself. And I said, I'm going to become a police officer so I can make a difference. That was a mindset. And I felt very strong about that. And that's why I came on the police department. I worked the streets, worked all type of assignments. So I got assigned to the Police Boys and Girls Club and had a great impact on a lot of young kids. So it was a vision that turned into a dream.
Wow. And that's usually what it starts. So you got to have a vision. I mean, then it becomes into a goal, and then,
Yeah.
well, no, it starts as a dream or vision, and then it comes into a goal, and then you make it into reality.
Yeah.
Very good. And martial arts helped you with that, I would assume.
Well, at that time, in my young age, in martial arts, all I wanted to do was fight. It took some maturing going down the line where my mindset started to change.
And speaking of your mindset or your philosophy, what is your philosophy to life? Because they say in martial arts, a lot of people develop that philosophy. So what was your philosophy, or what is your philosophy?
Well, my main philosophy is always a commitment to excellence in all that you do. And that commitment to excellence will be all that you do and all that you say, because people will take us according to what comes out of our mouth a lot of times as well.
Correct.
So those were the main two things there. My father and my grandfather had a great impact on me on how I carried myself as a man, how I carried myself as a black man.
Okay, well, we're going to hold it right there because according to your grandfather, according to research, was very famous here in the District of Columbia,
Yes.
especially as it comes to education. So we definitely want to get into that in the next segment, and we definitely want to educate our listening public or our viewing public as to what your grandfather actually did here in the District of Columbia. So we're going to look forward to that.
All right.
So in our next segment, we're going to talk more with Mr. Ronald Williams Sr., martial arts instructor extraordinaire.
All right.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
My name is Kyra Stewart. I'm a board member of the Woodridge Warriors Youth Organization. But more importantly, I'm a parent. Woodridge was established as a community-based organization in 1963. 49 years later, we continue to thrive as a nonprofit, offering mentoring and sports services to Washington area boys and girls aged 5 to 15. Our kids have year-round sports options, including playing football, basketball, baseball, and cheering. Woodridge has a committed group of experienced coaches and dedicated volunteers, working to make every child better. We welcome players at all levels with a focused approach that moves young athletes from beginner to experienced and finally advanced. We've seen our players go on to play in college and professionally, but more importantly, they go on to become successful men and women. The Woodridge community is dedicated to positive youth development. Come and play with us.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly,
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority. Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Hi, and we're back here at the Veronica Harris Show with Mr. Ronald Williams Sr. And in this segment, we want to talk more about, some of your family history, because it is a very extraordinary history. And not only have you made a large impact on the community, it seems, through all your years of being a police officer and as well as being a martial arts instructor, but your grandfather, Chancellor James Williams,
That's correct.
he was also a big influence as far as education for a lot of young people of color and just anybody that went to school here in the District of Columbia. So tell us about your grandfather, Chancellor James Williams.
My grandfather did a lot of things coming up. First of all, I didn't know who my grandfather was and his title as a young child. I remember listening to my grandfather talk about his adventures in Africa, what I thought was fascinating, and all the artifacts he had from Africa. It wasn't until my adulthood that I realized who my grandfather was.
Who was he?
Wow. A powerful man, a powerful educator, a man that spoke his mind, did not bite his tongue on issues, and took a stand for things that he believed in and would not come off of it. He had a thing about people, black people as a culture, and the things they should be doing. One of the things that he would always say, he said that we as a people and a culture need to aggressively seek after our own history. For if you don't aggressively seek after your own history, don't get upset what other people may write about you. And that just stuck with me. And that got me on a road to just research our history. My grandfather spoke about there were approximately 400 years of history that was hidden from us. And even today, I'm still finding out historical things about us as a culture, as a people that was never even mentioned coming up. Coming through school, we never were taught black history. And some of the things that was taught to us, when I left the district and went into Maryland and going into a white school, I remember the times when they showing the films about the slavery, and the students turn around looking at me and snickering and making these sounds. We didn't know anything about that. The only thing we knew about black history was the slave aspect of it, and that was as far as the history got. But my grandfather, when I found out who he was and all the books he had written in his elder age, I spent more time talking with him.
Now, your grandfather was big into education. He was a great educator, and he's connected with one of the best learning institutions in the world, if definitely not in the United States. So tell us more about that.
He was a professor at Howard University. As a matter of fact, I'm told that the history department is named after him. My grandfather talks about how he got started on his journey on black history. And now my grandfather was 98 when he passed. He passed in 1992. But he spoke about when he was in the 5th grade in Bennettsville, South Carolina, he noticed how whites were being treated different than blacks. And that was the catalyst that got him started about he wanted to know why. And that's where the journey started. And all the things he did on his writing, the time he spent from England into Africa, being able to teach at the University of Ghana, doing all his research, and then hooking up with his other black history historians, Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben Johansen.
Wow.
Those three were referred to as the three wise men.
The three wise men?
They always met up in somewhere in Africa.
Really? Wow, that's fascinating.
You know what, Ron? Just recently, maybe about the past year or so, I've been aggressively researching the history.
You have?
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
What history?
African American, human history, number one.
Okay.
Human history, number one, and then African American history, and all sorts of history.
Okay.
So, What you laughing at? So, like you said, a lot of stuff we weren't told, we didn't know, a lot of lies we were being told.
Absolutely.
If you could tell our viewers one thing you would like them to know that wasn't true or was hidden from us, what would you tell them?
The one thing that all the information that I come across, that I thought was fantastic information, but there's one that stick out in my mind more than anything. And it revolves around Uncle Tom's Cabin, the term Uncle Tom, and to stop people from black people calling one another Uncle Tom because they don't know the true meaning of it. And
Please do.
And most people who, first of all, we come up thinking the term Uncle Tom was someone who was a sellout, someone that was trying to be white.
Yeah.
But I found that most people who had that concept have never read the book Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Right, which was written by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Harriet Beecher Stowe.
That's correct.
You know, actually, she's related to us some kind of way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to talk to Mommy about that.
But if you read the book, you will see who Uncle Tom actually is. Now, we look at the term Uncle Tom's Cabin. Let's look at the word cabin first. His cabin was a place of sanctuary where he would hide slaves, he would teach them how to read and write, and he was a Christian as well. So always read the Bible to them. The term uncle, some cultures use the term uncle as a term of endearment or respect they have for someone they hold in high esteem. Uncle Tom was a person that really didn't tolerate a lot of stuff. Uncle Tom, he would help slaves escape from the plantation.
Really?
And what happened to Uncle Tom, there was 2 female slaves that he helped escape from the plantation. 2 trustee slaves told on him. His master, Simon Legree, found out. They hung Tom up in the slave, and Simon Legree just whipped him they cut his skin all up. He was trying to break his spirit. He said, I'm going to break your spirit and your faith. Uncle Tom told him, you can kill my body, but you can't kill my soul. So he wouldn't tell. Simon Legree got frustrated and left out the bond. The slave that told on Uncle Tom, his name was Sambo. Now, after they whooped Tom real bad, they cut him down, and the 2 trustees felt so bad they apologized to Tom for what he had done. He forgave them, he ministered to them, the 2 of them became Christians.
Really? So the next time somebody want to call you Uncle Tom, look at them and say, do you know who Uncle Tom was? You need to ask them that.
Tell me Uncle Tom, say thanks.
There you go. That's what someone
he was a great man.
He was. And you call me a Sambo, then I'm really going to look at you with the side eye. Well, that's going to be something. But that is very interesting, very interesting. Now, your jacket is very interesting.
Yes.
So you're big into baseball, I take it?
Well, no, I'm big into Black history because of my grandfather.
Right.
And I look at the areas of Black history that involves us as a people that's normally not talked about. And baseball is one of them. Negro League Baseball had actually hundreds of teams on it and different names. And it's a good conversational piece here. But what's interesting about the jacket, the different names on the team, and I love discussing cultural issues there, different races, and anything involved with culture. But with this jacket, there's one team on here that generates a lot of conversation.
And which one is that?
That's the Atlanta Black Crackers.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why, we have to, with certain words that we come up with, we know these words, but we actually didn't know where the words came from or the meaning. And certain words were taken to be offensive. Well, when you look up the word cracking, where that word came from, two situations with that word here. We're told that the word came from the time of slavery, when the slave master would use his whip and it would crack. And so the slave starts calling, here comes a cracker, which basically translates to being the boss.
Okay.
Oh, so that's where that came from.
Yeah, okay.
So and then we also found out that years later, down the states of Missouri and the area of Mississippi, the whites had their own baseball league. They called themselves the Georgia Crackers, the Mississippi Crackers, the Missouri Crackers. So it was a name that they used themselves.
Oh, so be called a cracker meant you were the boss.
Yeah.
So we call somebody no, see, I can't be calling them cracker the boss. But that just shows you how over time it had become a derogatory term.
Yes. Same with Uncle Tom, how it became derogatory over the years. And even today, there are teams in Atlanta that still use the name Atlanta Black Crackers, historical. But so many words that are used out here, we don't know the meaning of the words, phrases, or even situations.
Now, just real quick, we talk about words, and you know the N-word is a big thing. And you say, well, we don't know the meaning behind the word. Well, if you talk about the N word, if you look up in the dictionary, it means to act ignorant or to act in a derogatory fashion. So anybody could technically be the N word based on how you're acting and your behavior, if you were to go by the dictionary meaning. But when we say, like, for instance, the crackers, and that meant to be the boss. Now, I don't mind being called the boss at any time. You can call me the boss all the time. So if you want to call me a cracker, go ahead, because that means I'm the boss. But when we say how words have meaning and how they affect people, I guess to still call somebody a cracker, I guess that just would not be. Well, is it being too politically correct, or?
It wouldn't fly today because society has been indoctrinated to the negative connotations of that word, so it wouldn't go over too well at all. But it's good to be educated about that particular word, and when the time comes, sometimes we can educate people on certain words and the true meaning of the word itself.
Because I always felt that things, inanimate objects, really aren't good or bad. Like they say money is the root of all evil. I said money is the root of all nothing. Money is just a tool. It's the value that we place upon it, or it's our perceptions that we have about it. So that's why I say don't take anything personal, because if someone calls you a name or they want to say different things about you, like what are they really saying? Are they talking about you, the person, or is it just something that they ascribe to you? And if you don't believe in that, then there's no need for you to get upset about that.
Absolutely. Sometimes we give these words and phrases, we give them too much power. We take that power away from these words and phrases by not allowing them to have that emotional impact on us at all.
Right. I mean, I'm still not gonna go around calling people the N-word, but I'm just saying it has no meaning to me.
It doesn't faze
because
me.
I give it no value.
Yeah.
Right. It's the value that we give things that makes a difference. Well, Mr. Williams, this has been an extremely interesting conversation, and we definitely have to have you back. Talk more about baseball and learn more about. Gregory, what is it you want to learn more about?
About the history of martial arts, more of that history, because I know this came from real ancient civilizations. And they have a lot of knowledge and a lot of secrets that I would like to hear about.
Are you trying to learn their secrets?
Oh yeah.
Trade secrets.
Oh definitely,
Spy?
definitely.
KGB?
Spy? No, not spy. Knowledge. Knowledge that everybody should have. Not like somebody trying to spy on it. Everybody needs the knowledge.
You sure? Okay. Well, we definitely want to have you back because we're going to talk definitely about baseball. We're going to learn more about those secrets, that knowledge, and we're going to help educate ourselves and educate our viewing audience out there. So we look forward to you coming back. You're going to come back, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. Well, this has been a great conversation.
Absolutely.
And of course, we come to this part of the show where we call, What is Veronica Thinking? And today, What is Veronica Thinking has to do with words and the power of words.
We're at this part already?
We are at this part already.
The end already?
Are you ready?
I have some more stuff to talk about. All right, later then.
All right, well, this part is about the power of words. And in other words, what we should be saying is that words in and of themselves are just a series of letters, or not a series of letters, a series of letters, consonants, vowels that are put together and they form a word. But they really have no meaning. It's the value that we give to them. Now, there's a dictionary meaning, but the meaning that's intrinsic to us comes from the value that we put upon it. So if you put no value on certain words, then they have no power to hurt you. So what you need to do is take back that power, or what we all need to do is take back our power and not give the power to the words. Yes, there's power in the tongue in terms of life and death, but if you give that word no power, if it has no power over you, then it means nothing to you. And you can just go on with your business. What do you think?
Communication, one of the standards in PE, health and physical education, is communication. And I tried to address that with my class, but it didn't go over too well.
Well, maybe I have to work on your teaching things about that. But communication is one of the oldest forms. I mean, that's how civilizations were determined. The power to communicate verbally and non-verbally, pass down those traditions, obviously verbally, but the written word. That's how you could tell someone was, not someone, but a culture was civilized or not. Did they have the written word? And when they felt like if a culture didn't have the written word, then perhaps you weren't as civilized. But again, the power, take back your power. Don't let words define you.
Yeah, and I was trying to tell that to a 5th grade class, and I'm like, a donkey is the same as a...
Right.
So don't get... And every time I said the word, they laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed.
Right. It's because, well, that could be maturity too. You said fifth grade. It could be maturity. Fifth grade maturity.
Too young?
Too young.
Okay.
Too young. But anyway, we'd like to thank Mr. Ronald Williams, Ronald Williams Sr., excuse me, martial arts instructor extraordinaire, for spending time with us and telling us about his style, Shorin Ryu, and tell us a little bit about his history, which I think now I'm going to want to read more about Uncle Tom's Cabin, I think, and learn the more true history about that.
Well, I'm going to go into the history of the martial. Are you sure we out of time? We don't have no more time around?
No, we don't have no more. Pay attention to things. Focus.
All right, all right.
All right, well, tune in next time. We'll be talking about more sports, more history, and more education, and more about people. Right, Gregory?
That's right, Veronica.
And this is the Veronica Harris Show with Veronica Harris and my co-author.
Gregory Harris,
okay.
my little brother, also co-MVP.
Yes, the co-MVP. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.